On May 17, 1901, the Belvedere Daily Republican headline read, "They mean business. Rejuvenated watch factory to employ a big force." The revived Rockford Watch Company owner, Jacob Franks, a Chicago businessman, issued 10,000 shares at $100 a share and confessed to big intentions. "We expect to employ about 3,000 hands and turn out about 600 movements a day. We shall have branch offices in Chicago, New York, Paris, and Switzerland," claimed Franks. They say life is stranger than fiction, and the confident Mr. Franks had no idea what was ahead, and just how low events for himself would eventually tumble. So, without further ado, please like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more. Let's run the intro and get into the history of the Rockford Watch Company, along with the most unlucky man in history. The Rockford Watch Company from Rockford, Illinois, was formed in 1874 by three businessmen. Hosmer P. Holland, a Civil War veteran, Israel Sovereign, one of the city's leading merchants in hardware and stoves, and George Troxell, a city politician, who together raised $150,000 in capital through 400 citizens to realize their dream. Clark was in charge of construction of all machinery to be used in the plant, including hiring and training the workforce, plus initial startup of the production line. To get started, he brought in C.W. Parkett and P.H. Wheeler, two of the already established Cornell Watch Company's former employees, as key personnel. In total, 57 Cornell employees were used to get the machinery and factory up and running. The factory opened at 325 South Madison, Rockford, Illinois, near the Rock River in 1876. Early on, producing 10 watches per day in 5 different mechanisms, business ramped up through the 70s, and by 1881, Rockford was producing 70 watches per day. With continual growth, 10 years later, Rockford Watch Company became a significant industrial business in their region, even considering building a larger factory. However, competition from other watchmakers that were driving prices down caused the brand to reduce production and briefly suspend operations, blaming, quote, "the depression which has existed in the watch trade the last few years," end quote. The Rockford Watch Company was sold and reorganized as the Rockford Watch Company Ltd. in 1901, when Franks was summoned to re-establish the business and opened again as a subsidiary of the Illinois Watch Case Company, Elgin, Illinois, a manufacturer of watch cases. There is no association between the Illinois Watch Case Company and the Illinois Watch Company. The encouragement Jacob Franks depicted was very short-lived. Prognosticating the future, a fire originated at the factory in a pile of polishing material in the summer of 1903, causing considerable smoke and water damage. Then, a few months later, a bolt of lightning struck the top of the factory, causing brick to fall through and destroy the roof of the boiler house, while fragments of the glass entered the machine room, breaking most of the windows on the north side of the building. By 1904, the company laid off 75 factory workers, stating the layoff is due to depression in the watch trade and the layoff is indefinite. The Rockford Watch Company ceased operations and closed its factory in 1915 after manufacturing nearly 1 million jeweled, many railroad-grade, watches over a near 40-year period. The factory still stands in its original site to this day, although it is permanently closed. To their credit, the company kept producing high-quality watches throughout its existence regardless of their management. Franks remained out of the local newspaper until 1924, when his name suddenly made national news. In May of that year, his son, 14-year-old Bobby Franks, was kidnapped and murdered by two wealthy students enrolled at the University of Chicago. Nathan Frudenthal Leopold Jr., aged 19, and Bobby's cousin, Richard Albert Loeb, aged 20, committed the murder, characterized at the time as the crime of the century. The students spent 7 months planning everything from the method of abduction to disposal of the body, but, of course, mistakes were made. Leopold's glasses dropped out of his pocket and were found next to the body. Although common in prescription and frame, his glasses were fitted with an unusual hinge, purchased by only 3 customers in the city of Chicago, a welcome lead for any detective. Eventually caught, the sentencing hearing, as both men pleaded guilty, became a media sensation lasting for 32 days. On September 10, 1924, both students were sentenced to life imprisonment, plus 99 years. Loeb was murdered by a fellow prisoner in 1936, and Leopold was released on parole in 1958. Both Leopold and Loeb admitted that they were driven by their thrill-seeking delusions of wanting to commit the perfect crime. However, neither claimed to have looked forward to the killing. In the end, Leopold admitted interest in learning what it would feel like to be a murderer. He was disappointed, he noted, that in fact he felt the same as ever. London-born Jacob Franks died at the age of 73 on April 18, 1928 in Chicago, Illinois, with the weight of his loss unrelenting. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, make sure to give it a like, and if you'd like to see more content from us, you can subscribe right here. And as always, if you need any help repairing your watch, the link to our website is right here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.